that was the only reliable relationship on the ship, and I feel like they're gonna fall apart. I was right! It's the religion thing! Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back to another episode of Infinite Ryvius. First up, though, we have a comment. First one in a while, in fact. From Sergeant Pepper, from the Patreon, from the episode Free Order. Thank you for another great reaction episode of Ryvius. Just a fun fact, during the battle with the Impulse, the captain of the Impulse goes, "I can almost hear the hags on the Dicastia laughing at me." Also, in one of the previous episodes, Berkovich says something like, "We'll bring in the Impulse, the Dicastia, and even the Gespnitz. Sorry, I've heard it said a number of times. This isn't in the comment. This is me reacting to the comment still. Gespnitz. I remember what they're saying, and also they said it last episode. I don't know how to say it. I apologize. You'll see it on screen, not here while I'm live reacting to it, but in the YouTube or on the Patreon. Followed by Kitsugi's shocked reaction. Even the Gespnitz. Sorry, I still can't say it. Oh, by the way, the purple girl's name has already been mentioned in one of the previous episodes, but it's pretty difficult for the first-time viewers to catch it. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I remember Blue Impulse Captain saying that about the Dicastia hags laughing at him. I even remember back in a previous, felt like a boardroom meeting where they're talking about the Impulse, the Dicastia, in the Gimstnst. I believe that's back when I had my notes about an intergalactic war happening or something, and that these were all warships outside of the solar system fighting. Theories that I had in the past that was specifically referencing that thing that you're talking about. In regards to the purple girl's name, though, that's a difficulty that I've had in terms, and I think I stopped listing them because we've had, there was an E word. Oh god, if I could. Previously, I talked about the purpose of my notes taking is so that I could Control F my notepad and then search the word. But if all I remember is that it starts with an E, obviously I can't fucking search for it. Let's see. We have the Via, but that refers to types of ships because they're Via ships. They have the Sphinx, which is apparently something that's on board all of the ships. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it, and there's no way I'm going to be able to scroll through 17 episodes worth of notes to figure out the term. Let me see if I can search the word, or search the equal sign. Not that one. Via. Oh, damn it. No, this is just Via equals Vital Garter, maybe, and Bradica equals Ryvius. I want to say that there was an E word that they used that I just, for some reason, did not keep a note for. Like Ionakill or Endkill or. I know it's there. I know I've heard it, and I think I know what you're talking about, Sergeant Pepper. I just did not write a note for it. Although, I mean, that's under the assumption that that's what you're talking about with the Purple Girl's name. If that's not her name, then I am completely wrong. Either way, she's still a whole hell of a large mystery for me. I don't know what's going on. But I guess speaking of characters, let's bring up the board. I don't actually have much to do in the board changelog, but as you can see, I have actually redone the board in a way that I think I'm going to change future board stuff for with factions that exist. So I'm going to scroll in here. This is going to represent the outline of the characters and what colors represent. So a gray outline would be Orbital Security Bureau, and as an example, boom, we got one of the original infiltrators of the ship. Gray outline, they belong to the OSB. Blue's gang, obviously it's in blue because it's thematic. You got blue, Air's blue over here. Now you might notice Air's blue is half red, half blue. That's because we also have the outcasts, people who got arrested or globally shunned on the ship. Well, Air's Blue, leader of the Blue Gang, he's also part outcast, in that they're searching for him, there's a bounty for him, etc. This Y crew in this, lime green color, boom. As an example, here's Stein Hager, who is currently fully in the Y crew. Luxon, half-colored, because obviously he considers himself to be in this Y. People that beat the crap out of him considered him to be in this Y. He is not considered to be part of this Y by the people in this Y crew. So, thus that coloring. Obviously, you get the idea now, but there's one other thing I want to cover here. You have the Vital Guard crew in the yellow, Outcasts, red undercover, Supervisors in that green color, Supervisors being the replacements for the previous Supervisors. But I only really want to cover this because we have one outstanding character for this new color scheme, and that would be Charlie here, who is, he's an outcast because he's a member of this Y/Blue gang supervisor group who turned himself in what the Blue gang did. So he's also kind of representing part of the Blue gang here, but he's also part of this Y. So he is our only 3-color faction character. But yeah, in addition to that, also have turned away from the whole segregating people into blocks of what group they were in, because that was becoming not good. It was becoming very hard to keep track of people, and the lines were just converging all over the place. I think last time you saw it was like a rectangle where I just had 100 red lines going back and forth. Well, this is the previous method of just a block of even numbers and characters interacting with one another. Your metropolitan grid formation. So, of course, if future me remembers, this will be linked in the description of the video so you can see it more clearly than you can here. But I think this is how I'm going to move forward with factions on a board, because I think it works pretty well. The fact that you can also cut them in half and say, oh, well, they're part of 2 different factions or 2 different group outlooks. I really like how this worked out. Took me half of a day to redo the board, but I appreciate how it's working. Now then, to my notes. The ease of which the OSB explains away a colony of people being destroyed goes a long way towards painting them as the bad guys. I mean, that may have already been obvious, but with so much of the background of events being hidden, there was still a certain there's certain extremes that may have been acceptable under certain conditions. It's also interesting. Sorry, I feel like I need to explain that better. If what was going on was so horrible that it requires the destruction of a colony, but we don't know the justification for that just yet, it might be that they are operating with everyone's best interest in mind and having to do horrible things. But what feels like is happening here is that they're doing horrible things for not good reasons. I feel like that sounds very dumb and obvious when I say it out loud, but there's a benefit of the doubt that is not typically given offhand, and I think the lack of information makes that benefit of the doubt more plausible than not, and that they've gotten rid of that benefit of the doubt here. It's also interesting that they say that the blue impulse can be repaired, considering that it appeared to be half organic. I guess even those are replaceable parts. They suggest that close proximity to the Sphinx could be what warped the blue impulse captain. If so, then despite not knowing what or where the equivalent would be on the Ryvius, that could explain the changing attitudes of the characters on board the ship. The problem with seeing them wholly contained on the ship means that we never really see what they are like in a normal environment. It's hard to compare what is the normal extremes of a character, to what might be beyond those typical extremes. Like, we do get, like, flashbacks of what Aoi, Yuki, and Koji are like back in their past, but those are themselves extremes, right? So it's hard to tell what those extremes are like versus the extremes that might be under due to the presence of like an alien mind playing on them here on the ship. So people are getting over the new weak-willed supervisors and just stealing food, while these Y have free reign on the food and have infinite points themselves. Soon enough, they are going to run out of food, and the people still having to deal with the points are going to rise up again. Except this time, there isn't going to be anything left to fight over. I think this is once again failure of Stein's management process, where he's trying to hold on to power and make sure that things are still running well. We know that the last time there was a count, there was 6 months of food left, and we've kind of done a little bit of time jumping, but we don't know what the supply is like, except that every time we see people stealing from it, or I think it was Brian who was holding like a whole little soiree party with just taking food, I think they're just gonna fucking run out of supplies. At which point, either it's gonna be a revolution, or they're gonna actually turn into piracy. I still don't know what Fina's up to. We've covered that she's from Titania, Uranus, and worships Aisha, and that other people are put off from people that are either from there or worship that. I'm unsure. I think maybe there is some connection to all that and the old hags on board the Dicastia. Maybe it's a matriarchy and Fana is establishing herself as the head matriarch among the women of the Ryvius. Could be that. They'll be the next group to try and take over, especially given that Fina is the only non-Y remaining on the bridge. And in that way, she can feed all of her people intel on what's going on, or more so, who to influence to make sure things go their way. I think I brought that up with the way that she's apparently kind of manipulating Yuki by making sure that people are around Yuki to manipulate him. Just feels like what's going on right now. Julie's obsession with Blue is ruining her as a character. Blowing up on Pat because he needs to pee and you don't want to move away from your Blue hunt is unacceptable in my book. I don't even mind that Pat was bad-mouthing my boy Luxon. I figure he was doing it because he prefers Julie and thought he was in a safe space to do it. Julie just ups and betrays that trust, which is hard to get back. At least Luxon never does that. Luxon's flaw is that he is always himself, but that's also why you always know what you're going to get with him. Again, I'm saying Luxon's flaw is he's always himself, but the problem is that people don't like Luxon. So, Luxon always being himself is being the guy that nobody likes. Trade-offs. Okay, so Purple Girl. The fact that she can walk through walls would seem to imply that she's just a vision that people can see. As per the previous idea, the more people influenced by the Sphinx, the more people that can see her. The confusing part is if we go back to the previous episode, where she was passed out in the girls' quarters and they tried to take her clothes off, that implies that they could touch her. And yet, as we just saw with Blue and the two guys chasing her down the corridor, she passes through objects at will. So the idea that these girls tried to take her clothes off to, I don't know, help her wake up or whatever they were doing, and yet she could pass through objects, is she real or is she not real? I know I was just upping Luxon, but as is always the way, he took Pat to robot racing and lost all of his money. That's a bad influence, and not the responsible Luxon I've been praising for trying to get his act together. Still, I guess it could be worse. Pat could be hanging around a Julie that gets together with Blue. That'd still be a worse influence. Alright, my final note here. I feel like Koze and Yuki are either the two people most influenced by whatever the Sphinx is, or their natural attitudes are just the worst. I know I was calling out Yuki since the beginning, but I feel like he's going to the extremes now. Cozy has been ramping up ever since the first kiss, and now her actions in the kitchen are going to land her in some serious trouble, given the random nature of how people are acting with violence now. I'll also put Blue's actions down as possibly being Sphinx related, as he has a real feel of that Navy SEAL, no rhyme intended by the way, from the Abyss, when he starts getting the bends, someone pushed well over the edge by an outside source. I was writing this down and I was thinking, wait, no, Blue is probably the better example of this. It's just the fact that Yuki has gone back and forth over regret for what he's done, like when he sees the scar on Koji's shoulder. And now he's actively beating up his brother, who has just gotten mass beating already. So it feels like he's being pushed over an edge. And again, Koze, this does not feel like the Koze from the start of the show. So I have to believe that she's also being pushed. And there are just like very specific certain attitudes that they focus on that they're being pushed by. Again, Koze is her infatuation with her boyfriend and their first kiss. Yuki is focused on his brother's just wishy-washy nature. And I guess the fact he shouldn't be trying to do anything. I talked real early on about how Purple Girl reflects the thoughts of everyone around her, and they tend to be very specific thoughts. And she does that all last episode, to the point where I didn't even write them down like I usually do, because they're so obvious. In this point, it's just what the characters are thinking. So, yeah, again, I feel like the entire ship is just getting pushed over the edge. I don't know if I talked about this much. It's not something I've written a note down for. In fact, I'm going to minimize my notes, because after I'm done saying this, we're going to go right into the episode. But there is an element here that I appreciate, which is the element that there is an outside force possibly pushing people beyond even the stresses that they would normally be in this moment. Because if you know the real life story of Lord of the Flies, it's actually a group of boys who get stranded, and they work together to be rescued. Like, they work together, and they get rescued after a long time. There's no actual Lord of the Flies, what's in the novel, drama. Because Lord of the Flies itself bases itself on those boys who, again, worked together and got rescued. So, if you wanted to make Lord of the Flies a real thing, there would have to be something else causing that strife. And if there's like an alien intelligence that's like draining the people on the ship of their sanity and causing them to lash out like this, I feel like that's at least an explanation, and I appreciate that. That said, though, I think we should go ahead and hop on into the next episode and see what insanity is about to ensue. I anticipate Fina and her faction, because I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Oh, no, sorry. We're about to get into a fight. I guess the fight's about to happen.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I wonder if that's going to be the thing. Fina tries to redirect them to Uranus, the same way that Blue tried to go back to his home place. It's a lot of anvils.
無理に出ようとすればロシの限界で船体に甚大なねじれが発生します。リバイアスでも破壊は免れないでしょう。
Because they're on the edge of a swirling gravity vortex made by the other ship. I mean, that's what it looked like when they showed it on their, like, screen. So I was kind of trying to wait for the next time, or I mean the opening to start, so I wouldn't immediately be talking over the bits that they want to show us. Like, because they showed, like, them shooting out these, like, things on a cord that were projected towards the Ryvius, and then they started doing, like, an atom example spin around the Ryvius. But on their screens, it showed, like, some sort of, like, twister thing extending out around the Ryvius and, like, just at the very edge. So, it seems like some sort of gravitational vortex is being created around the Ryvius. Almost like a whirlpool. I don't know if it's, like, pulling them towards the other ship, or it's just creating that effect in a path to the... I don't know if it's supposed to crush the Ryvius, or I don't know what its goal is. It's obviously it's doing damage in the millions of anvil range, which just makes me think of, like, cartoons and anvils being dropped on. You know, the way we get, like, megatons and everything for, like, nukes. Like, we started off with, that's the ship, it's in the opening now. Like, we started off with cartoon anvils dropped, and now we're measuring all explosions with anvil strength, and now we're in the mega anvils. But the fact is that the Ryvius can also extend its own gravitational field, so... I guess the idea is that theirs is stronger? I mean, yeah, why not?
出ていません。アプローチプロセス終了。リフトガンの切り離しお願いします。
ちょっと待って。重力断層に近づけばバイタルガーダーもロシの限界で粉々になるわ。
こっちを閉じ込めただけで敵が黙ってるわけねえだろ。おい、艦長の指示だぞ。発進中止だ。何もしないで殴られんのはごめんだ。
Fuck that. I'm sorry, Julie is not in the strongest of places right now.
悠長なことしてられねえ。黙ってろ。敵の攻撃はすでに開始されていると予測できます。
Legit Koji is just the I was just following orders guy.
艦隊外部を引き伸ばす形でフィールドを張って、あとは脱出する方法が何か。無駄だ、優等生。何でもいいから早くリフト。
You remember when Julie was the most knowledgeable about everything? She had just crumbled.
頼む兵が回してくれ。わかりました。バルジキャノンもダブルでアウトさせろ。敵の出方によっちゃ必要になる。
位置確認と通信のためにリバイアスとリフト艦を有線でリンクする。リフト艦切り離しまで12分です。
破壊しないようフィールド展開を忘れないでください。20分でバイタルガーダーを発進させるぞ。無茶だろそりゃ。アプローチのソリッドはオートで流し込んだ。確認作業をすっ飛ばすんだ。リフトオフと同時に敵予測進路に向ける。タイムシェアリングでパラレルにデータを搬送できるようにシステムフローを変えてみる。外壁のアレスティングブロックより。
So I enjoy how everything needs to be programmed out first. So we have the entire crew in the sub part of the ship just working on programming.
頑張ってコージ。あなたとバイタルガーダーならできるわ。
無理だよ。
Koji, you just... I would say you're becoming the worst, but that's a low bar at this point.
リカスティアはバイアで一番重力波の出力が大きいのよ。エイスピナーでいたぶるだけ。砲弾有効圏内に突入したい。目標に対して砲撃を返しなさい。急ぎなさいよ。あんたたちノルマなんだから急ぐぐらいでちょうどいいの。
So the one thing that the Ryvius does, which is gravity waves, this ship is better at.
敵艦との戦闘状態に突入します。万が一 ちの場合の安全を考え、外壁に近い区画の隔壁を5分後に閉鎖しますので、近くにいる方は
はいはい、わかりました、ファイナさん。
時間はリバイアスと同型のものと推測。
嘘、統計か？
危険区域にいる方は
おい、やべえぞ。どこ逃げたって変わんねえよ。こっちの時は全員一緒だ。俺はお前らと一緒はごめんだぜ。なんだと？パット君、ここは危ないと私は判断した。ただし逃げよう。
どこに？
どこだ
To that ship you guys are often staying in. At least if the Ryvius goes down, that's a separate ship. They can escape on.
何やってんのよ。
どくさ。早く片付けなよ。戦闘が始まりそうなんだから。
何よその目。
Oh, fuck off, you guys. You guys are gonna get slapped in the face with a plate.
明日は勝つよ。
もっと分かってない。
That was the only reliable relationship on the ship, and I feel like they're gonna fall apart. I was right! It's the religion thing.
シャーロット、今俺が。大丈夫だって。バイタルガーダーも
Someone's about to get murdered.
本当？嬉しい。
誰なんだあいつは。
You let a guy on. I mean, not really. He was a creeper from the beginning, but you should have read this situation. You're turning into Michelle.
リフトオフのアプローチソリッド、転送終了。
I was about to make a comment on how she's doing this with a nobody, but again, technically it's like, what, 400 kids on the ship? We're only keeping track of like 5% of them.
今が危険なんだよ。作業に集中しろって。オートサイド、アレスティングブロック A から F まで分離開始。サポサイド、アレスティングブロック A から F まで分離開始します。リザルティンフィールド強度プラス120ポイント。アクセレーション。
Oh man, actually I hope Luxon doesn't run away to find someone safe to go and run into Blue.
マルズキャノンのデジグネーター捉えた。ビームライディングに移行させて、これからアプローチに入る。
マルチとの相対速度、上昇でしたわ。ほとんど完璧に成功以上に入ってる。
キャノンの残弾はバルジュエストが11、イーストが8。少ねえ。
Yeah, you remember when they were all fucking around?
武器をつけたって
Not even aiming?
どこに撃つつもりだよ。敵の予想進路だ。データ聞かないんだぜ。できんのかよ。
蒸し返し戦闘なんて。
敵はどう出てくると思う。決まっている。
遠距離からのなぶり殺し。
重力弾頭の一部で敵場が変動している。ポイントはファイ34、ゼータマイナス03、ガンマ8。予想と違うじゃねえか。リバイアスが。当たった。
I mean, it's kind of a blind fight. It's hard to tell what they're actually doing.
16番の局所断層の加速を利用しての攻撃です。体積の小さいものを高速で打ち出して。
Oh, kind of like the giant wheel we were at back at Mars.
対応策はあんのか。黙ってろ。くそー、イーストの制御ソリッドが来てねえ。サーバーのトラブルだ。コーチ見てきてくれ。手が離せない。わかった。
優しい。
気配り。また当たった。
192区画に。あ、
どうした。
192。
At least all these hits on the main ship never result in any of the characters that we care about, that we know dying.
なんで避難してねえんだよ。バカ野郎が。人が死んだ。人が。
Yeah, limited shots, man. Okay, it's like a gravity wall out there.
バルジキャノンも効かないのかよ。当然です。これがロシの限界です。だから補充要員が必要だって。
Man, unless it is like a twister and you can shoot straight down it. But you'd have to figure out what straight down it is because it's like invisible. Because it's gravity.
ユイリ、なんか手はないのか。
艦長はお前だ。
そんな
と言われても館内で乱闘発生、救助を求めてますが。
今はそれどころじゃねえ。助けて誰か。私のスパイ能力者往生だ。ルクス、やめて、そこはダメ。私はスパイ、そこはダメ。
Oh, fucking hell.
何言ってんだよ、こんな時に。
Why are they beating on Luxon now?
何やってんだ、イクミ。またあの子だ。なんで。
Koji gonna find out where she's actually at? Nope, found Blue.
ブルー。
So I was worried that Luxon was gonna run into Blue. Koji runs into Blue. Luxon runs into a group of people just wanting to kick his ass. I guess I was completely wrong about the Twister thing, 'cause it seems like they've just formed the ball around it. Oh man, cut this communication now. This is too much.
いい加減にしろ、このクソ野郎ども。ユキ、どいつもこいつもノーノーと生きやがって、他人に全部押し付けてほったらかしか。
ユキ、
何もしねえくせに主張ばかりしやがって、しかもそれで何かをしたつもりで嫌がる。勘違いすんな。何にもしてねえんだよ。お前らは死んでんのと同じだ。そんな奴らが偉そうに命令垂れるな。俺は勝手にやらせてもらう。文句は言わせねえ。いいな。
I mean, bullshit. This Y have been doing stuff.
言ってくれんじゃないの、あんたの彼氏。
あれはイクミじゃない。わかんないよ、私らバカだから。そうそう。
まあ確かにあんたの彼氏じゃこんなかっこいいこと言えないんだ。
I don't like that this is happening with so much sharp objects around her.
あんたたち全然イクミに感謝してない。わかってない。バカじゃないの。
あんたなんかにバカって言われたくないわよ。
There's too much of a chance of shit just blowing up in people's faces.
知らないわよ、どうなっても。
どうするつもりだ。勝手にやるって言っただろ。いい加減にしろよ、お前。やめろ。今はこいつに頼るしかねえ。
I mean, he is the #1 ranked person in skill, even if he's below hard. Also, you remember back in the first episode where he refused to help anybody do anything to save them?
しかし一瞬だぞ。だからそっちの手を吐かせてんじゃねえか。分かった。みんなを守ることができるなら全員衝撃に備えろ。今からフィールドに裂け目を作ってバイタルガーダーを突っ込ませる。おいおい、本気かよ。コージ、バルジキャノンはどうなってる。すぐ必要になる。
I'm just so angry about all of this shit. He's basically saying all the people who've been doing repairs on the Ryvius are also worthless.
ブルー。お前は。
There's a whole support network holding Yuki up.
こっち来なさい。離してよ。ちょっとやめなって。あんたも来るっての。私ら構わないけど。
You should have taken your mop and started whacking him in the head.
どっちだっていいよ。こっちが安全なら。そりゃそうだ。
ねえ、今日の夕食どうする？
Okay. There is definitely a problem here.
あれ、ちょっと待ってくれよ。待ってなし。
I mean, to be fair, there was sexual assault going on. That dude deserved that.
卑怯者め、 シャーロットのファンにつけ込むなんてお前のせいだお前の。
At least it happened in the same episode.
危険すぎる。やめさせて。
しかし他に方法がありません。
I mean, this is fucking insanity. Not even with the,
コージどうしちゃったんだよ。
not even what's going on here. I just mean, like, the entire fucking ship.
このままじゃみんなを守る時間がない。今だユキ。分かってる。
何よ。フィナーフィールドに変動が観測されています。
Fina Field. And we have a character named Fina. That's interesting. What the fuck that represents?
入ってくる。いっぱいいっぱい入ってくる。これは何？これは。
フィンガーに反応。捕まえた。
分離タイプ？
コージバリシーストはどうなってる。いつまでかかってんだよ。もういい。
I'm sorry, I'm just like dead mind. I don't know what the hell to think about so much of this shit.
すぐ送れ。
I was starting to think maybe there's an element of like the individual captains on a Vaya ship go crazy due to their connection to the Sphinx, but the Ryvius is being spread out amongst all the crew.
無理です。パペットバイヤーの切断率が。ならエーステラールを戻しなさい。遅いことなら猫でもするわ。
ソリッドの転送完了。
目標接近。接触まで20秒。
それでも
これで
私は
終わりだ。
生き続ける。
Again, is she mimicking what the thing is doing? Or is she representing the solids that are being programmed to do it?
エステラール逮捕。メイン支柱部に被弾。操作不能。何のガスなんだ。若いんでしょ。
Deeper into the adult where it'll be destroyed?
タウガール。減少傾向。
重力断層が消えていきます。勝ったのか。みたいだな。バイタルガーダってのは化け物かよ。というより乗ってるやつの力だよ。本当に。
So are we gonna move the control from the bridge to the vital garter?
大勢組。
Or, I'm sorry, the lifter?
相葉勇気。 やめろ。感謝ぐらいさせろよ。
Again, this is the kid who refused to help anybody in the first 2 episodes.
ありがとう相葉勇気。まあんたもよくやった方だ。いやもうお仲間ね。勝手に決めるな。
やば、男に嫉妬しちゃった。
Oh, come on, we know you're manipulating him on behalf of the cult.
すまない。持ち場を離れて。てめえ。
Blue's on board.
あなたの実力ならこの状況を打破できたはずです。なぜ何もしなかったのですか。
見込み違いよ。私はたまたまツバイになってたまたま主席になっただけ。人の命なんて受け止められない。
そうですか。なんでそんなにお気楽に生きてるんだよあんたは。イクミコウジ 気の方が正しい。正直もっとマシなやつだと思ってた。
Then what?
死ぬとこだったんだぞ。
I was being held at gunpoint. What the fuck do you want? Look, I don't like Koji that much anymore either. But this is way beyond.
小杖小杖戦闘終わったって。イクミたち迎えに行かなくていいの？
Yeah, where did they drag her off to? Like,
そんなに水
oh no.
ポイントマイナスになっちゃうよ。どうしたの小杖？ダメ、見ないで。小杖？やだ、見ないで。小杖、なんなのその傷。
Yeah, what the fuck did they do? Because it was about how cute she was, so she could get away with shit before.
それでも
So what did they fucking do to her?
死ぬまで生き続ける。
But did we turn around? 'Cause we were at Saturn before, and now we're heading towards Jupiter. Oh. What the fuck does that mean? So the fact that he didn't turn around and regard them doesn't let me know that they actually know it's there. But I have the sense that they're trying to imply that they have a ship that's so together that the ship is working with them. But that's what that scene there at the very end is meant to imply. Versus what the fuck is going on with the Ryvius. Because, I mean, God, we're on... What episode are we on again? We are on episode 18 out of 26. So, 8 more episodes, right? 8-ish. I really have the sense that everybody on the ship is going to kill one another before we're done. That legit no one's getting off the ship alive. Like, I would not be surprised if the end of this is Pat flying off on a ship on his own as the sole survivor to, like, live the rest of his life to tell people what happened.
君のことを考えてる。こんなにも考えてる。君は今悲しい、楽しい、寂しい。わからない。
Is that one of their
わ
buoys?
からないから君のことを考える。笑顔で君と向き合うことを考えてる。
God, they didn't even tell us what happened to Luxon. I'm worried that Luxon didn't get, like, stripped like he did last time. That this time Luxon might not be anymore. Again, the implication of what they did to Cozy there. Like, I believe that she was going overboard as well. But at the same time, I don't know. I didn't expect whatever the fuck they did to her. I expected them to just lock her up in one of those rooms, because clearly she needs time to figure shit out and be isolated from the causes of all these problems. Like, it might be, at this point, the people who got locked up are probably in the best place, assuming that the lockup rooms are not in whatever 192 was, where all those people died. Because again, I thought what I was commenting before was the benefit of the idea that anybody who dies in those mass attacks aren't typically characters that we know. But I feel like that would serve us better at this point, to have people that we know die in those sorts of things, because that would, give a kick in the pants at least to all the other characters. It's not random people that we don't know dying. It's actual people that we spend all of our time with. Or, in some cases, some of our time with that we actually care about. Like if, sorry, I forgot her name. I was going to go with one example. I'll go with Ran, for example. If Ran run off the bridge to save Pat, because Pat's involved with whatever Luxon is being dragged away for, and then Rand dies in the explosion, then Julie might at least consider Rand's death. Or, conversely, she doesn't consider it at all because she's still focused on Blue, and that is our perspective from the audience, that Julie's losing it, that one of the people that she spends all of her time with, she wouldn't even consider their deaths because she's so focused on a thing. This is a ship bogged down by madness, is what I feel like is going on. And it is becoming to a point that is difficult to watch, but much like a car crash, it's difficult to look away from, because I don't know where things are going, and I guess much like NASCAR, there's a car I want to win, so I don't know, it's getting rough. It is getting rough, and every episode is becoming a little bit harder than the last one. It's still a really good show. It's just like watching Made in Abyss and trying not to be sad. This is like, I'm watching this show and it's like digging a spoon into my gut, and I'm like, oh, this is getting hard. It's getting hard. Anyway, I don't think I have much to add other than how uncomfortable some of these scenes are starting to be. So, once again, I've been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?